Today, doctors at the Federal Communicable Disease Center acknowledge the flu vaccine in the recommended dosage is ineffective, while in a larger dose it can be harmful. However, the flu vaccine is still recommended for old people and the chronically ill.
Last month, a Senate subcommittee headed by Abraham Ribicoff charged that the federal government wasn't doing a good enough job of informing the public about ineffective vaccines.
Scientists at the Division of Biologic Standards test vaccines for their potency and safety before licensing them for public use. However, the division does not determine the effectiveness of the vaccine. That is left to the manufacturers. A case in point is the influenza vaccine. 4 scientists in charge of work on the flu vaccine during the 1960s found it to be ineffective, said they refused to give it to their own families. 2 were transferred to other work, a third left the division. And over the entire 10-year period, not one word of their unfavorable findings was allowed to be published. But a more serious case involving the relationship between the leaders of the division and their scientists involves the adenovirus vaccine, a vaccine given to thousands of American soldiers to prevent certain cold-like symptoms. When it was shown that the vaccine contained a contaminant which caused cancer in laboratory animals, it was taken off the market.
That the vaccine contained a contaminant which caused cancer.
But that was 3 years after the division's own scientists had pointed out the danger. Dr. Murray justifies the use of the vaccine by saying it took 3 years to examine the evidence against it.
It was more important to use the vaccines than to take them off the market and remove the agent.
It's more important to use the vaccines than to take them off the market and remove the agent.
But since the agent couldn't be removed, there was no other course.
Thus, for 3 years, American troops were injected with a cold-preventing vaccine which was causing cancer in laboratory animals. Some of the division's scientists who charged they were prevented from publishing results of experiments which show some of the vaccines to be ineffective.
The control officer in 1960 who has grave doubts about the potency of influenza vaccine. These doubts were made known to the director of the division and through the proper channels.